The US may ban Chinese humanoid robots. Here's why it matters. The United States is considering one of its most significant moves yet in the growing technology rivalry with China, restricting the use of Chinese-made humanoid robots over national security concerns. The proposal is part of the latest National Defense Authorization Act, NDAA, passed by the U.S. House of Representatives. Under the current draft, the Pentagon would be prohibited from buying, leasing, or operating humanoid robots made by companies tied to countries considered foreign adversaries, including China, Russia, and Iran. At first glance, that may seem surprising. After all, humanoid robots are often associated with factory work, warehouses, or even household assistants. So why is the U.S. government concerned? Lawmakers argue that these robots are becoming highly sophisticated mobile computers. They contain cameras, microphones, sensors, GPS, wireless communications, and increasingly advanced artificial intelligence. If deployed in sensitive locations, they could potentially collect valuable information or, in a worst-case scenario, be remotely accessed or manipulated by a foreign government. Those concerns are driving the proposed restrictions. It's important to understand that the legislation is not a nationwide ban on Chinese robots. As currently written, it applies specifically to U.S. military procurement. The Pentagon would no longer be allowed to purchase or operate covered humanoid robotic systems from designated foreign adversaries. Commercial sales to businesses and consumers would remain legal for now. The proposal builds on earlier bipartisan efforts, including the American Security Robotics Act and the broader GUARD Act, both introduced earlier this year. Some lawmakers have pushed for much wider restrictions that could eventually limit the commercial sale of certain Chinese robots in the United States, similar to previous actions involving telecommunications equipment and other connected technologies. Those broader measures have not yet been adopted. The timing is no coincidence. China has become one of the world's leaders in humanoid robotics. Companies such as Unitree, Agibot, UB Tech, and others are rapidly developing increasingly capable robots for manufacturing, logistics, research, and consumer applications. Industry analysts estimate that Chinese companies now account for more than half of the world's humanoid robot models, reflecting China's growing strength in robotics manufacturing and supply chains. Meanwhile, American companies including Tesla, Figure AI, Agility Robotics, and Boston Dynamics are developing their own humanoid platforms, creating what many view as the next major global technology race. Some experts believe humanoid robots could become as transformative over the next 2 decades as smartphones were over the last 2. They may eventually perform warehouse work, factory assembly, elder care, construction, disaster response, military logistics, and even household chores. Because these systems combine AI, sensors, mobility, and constant connectivity, governments increasingly view them as strategic technologies rather than ordinary consumer products. Supporters of the proposed restrictions argue that acting early helps protect military networks, sensitive facilities, and national security before foreign-made humanoid robots become widespread in critical infrastructure. Critics, however, warn that overly broad restrictions could reduce competition, increase costs, and slow innovation if they eventually expand beyond military use. Regardless of how the legislation evolves, one thing is becoming clear. The competition between the United States and China is no longer focused only on semiconductors and artificial intelligence. It is rapidly expanding into humanoid robotics, a technology many believe could reshape manufacturing, defense, healthcare, and daily life over the coming decades.